Hey everyone, welcome to r/talesfromtechsupport, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technologically disadvantaged, like me. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got a story for you. My apps are crashing, and now it's your problem. I'm a repair tech at a small family-owned phone repair shop. Most of my day is spent swapping screens on iPhones and tablets. Occasionally I get fun stuff or weird challenges and way outside my scope questions. Me equals me, CX equals customer. This morning I get a call from a previous customer who I repaired a broken phone screen for a few months back. Customer: what's going on with my phone? My apps keep crashing. Me: I'm sorry, what exactly is going on? What device do you have? Are there any notification boxes that provide more info when a crash happens? Customer: it's a well-known problem with Android Web Services app and Chrome, and I spent hours on the phone with Verizon last night. They couldn't help me, so since you fix phones, you know how to fix this, right? Me, with a quick Google search. Find out that this is a bug that slipped through an update yesterday and is already fixed with another update. Well, I wasn't aware of this problem till just now, but a quick search on the internet shows that you just need to update both Google Chrome and Android System WebView. If you go to Google Play Store and search... Customer: I already did that last night and I can't update them. Also, wasn't it an update that caused this headache in the first place? Why should I trust an update again? Me: yes, a bug in the previous update is the culprit of the problem. But it looks like another, newer update is out that should rectify the issue. Just go to the Google Play app and search... Customer: yes, but I already did that last night and it didn't have an update button. Me, thinking, okay, two can play at this game. I see. I'll tell you what, do me a favor and restart your phone. Completely power it down. Let's give it a few seconds. Okay, now power it back up. Okay, now go to the Google Play app. Okay, now search for Android System WebView. Is there an update button now? Click Update. Okay, now search Google Chrome. Is there an update button? Click it. Okay, wait for the updates to finish installing. Okay, restart your device. Now you should be good to go. Test by opening one of the apps that was crashing before. Everything works now? Okay, goodbye. Gotta admit, I was really tempted to take the unnecessary steps even further and have the customer restart the modem and router too, but didn't want to be on the call that long. Since this first call, I've fielded several more calls about this bug today, and I'm considering invoicing Google for the customer support I'm providing for them. Yeah, I don't blame you, OP. That doesn't even sound like it's in your scope, but hey, I get it, you want to provide good customer service. It'd just be nice if people didn't complain to you about it. You what? Can't remember if I posted this here before, so sorry if this is a repeat. 3 people involved. Me, equals a nerd who likes tech stuff, Dad, Mother, and the kid. Little backstory. Some 15 years ago, I was asked to build a new gaming computer for a friend's 14-year-old kid. He had some money from his confirmation. It's called that in Danish. I don't know if it's the correct English word. This way the dad could have his computer for himself. He's also a gamer. And the kid would have his own. Anyway, I used the money he had available to build him a nice gaming rig. He's happy and can now play Counter-Strike and World of Warcraft with his friends. Fast forward about 5 months. I get a call from the dad that the PC isn't working. It won't turn on. I tell him I'll drive by tomorrow after work to check on it. Now I get there after work the next day and ask what's wrong with it, and the dad says it won't turn on. No lights or anything. I asked the kid when it last worked, and he told me last Thursday, before he and his dad went fishing for the weekend. When he got home and wanted to play, he pressed the power button and the computer made a funny noise but didn't turn on. After that, nothing would happen when he pressed the power button. I go into his room and lift the mini tower up from the floor onto his desk. It already had the side panel off, and he had put lights in it to make it look cool. His words. I pressed the power button and nothing happened. This is when the alarm bells in my head started to go off one at a time. First, I saw rust on some screws. Second, I saw lime deposits from water. It was not water-cooled. Third, the smell of burnt electronics. The last one caused me to rip the power cord and every other cord out of the computer within a few seconds. I put my head to the power supply and oh man, the smell. The dad asked me what was wrong, as he saw the disgusted look I had on my face, as well as the panic power cord removal I had just performed. I asked him to smell the computer. He put his head down and made the same disgusted look I had made a few seconds before. Now here's a transcript as best as I can remember it. Me to the kid. Did you spill water onto the computer? Kid. No, it worked fine before we went fishing. Me. Are you sure? Because it looks like somebody poured a lot of water into this computer. There's rust on some screws and lime marks in several places. It looked like it's been washed. From another room. Mom. Yeah, I washed it. Me. You what? Mother comes into the room. Yeah, I washed it. Me. Why? Mother. After these two left for the weekend to go fishing, I cleaned the kid's room. He had dirty clothes everywhere, and the room needed to be vacuumed, as he had ignored my request for him to clean it. This woman hates dust bunnies. She's allergic to them, if I remember right. Me. But why did you wash the computer? Mother. It was full of dust, so I took it to the kitchen and washed it in the sink. Oh my god. I looked over at the kid and his father's faces, his dad just shaking his head, and the kid had a look of horror on his face, as he knew the computer was dead after this. Me. You do know that electricity and water don't mix, right? Mother. Yeah, but the computers can be water-cooled, so they can be washed. Turns out the kid and dad had been talking about water cooling their PC. This was before AIO water cooling solutions were common. And the mother had overheard this, so she thought that the computers could be washed if full of evil dust bunnies. She had disconnected the computer, taken it out to the sink, poured water all over it, dried with some cloth, and put it back. And put the cables back into the correct holes somehow. After she told me that, I just started laughing. She asked why, and I told her that the water cooling goes inside heater blocks and tubes. If water leaks and gets on the computer components, even a few drops, the computer dies if powered on. Even if dried, the mineral deposits from the water as well as water still under the chips can cause shorts. That's when what she had done dawned on her. Luck would have it, they saved the boxes all the components came in. So the motherboard, RAM, hard drive could be replaced under warranty, after the watermarks were cleaned off. And a new DVD drive, PSU, and GPU needed to be bought, as those could not be cleaned well enough. The CPU worked, so no need to replace that. In the end, the kid got a faster GPU as the prices had come down, and guilt-tripping his mother worked wonders for a few weeks. To this day, she still gets teased about washing her son's computer. That is a new one on me. I'll be the first to admit I've run keyboards through dishwashers, washed a few in sinks, but I always made sure that they were really extremely dry before they ever got plugged back in. I can't even imagine taking the whole tower and putting it in the sink. Ugh. I may have caused the problem, but it isn't my fault. Too long didn't read at the end. And a note for this story. I'm an industrial engineer by both education and trade. In other words, servers are new to me, and everything I've learned about them, I've learned on site. This isn't relative to the story, but I wanted to get that out of the way in case any of my terminology was wrong. An additional note is that this isn't a dumb user sort of story to laugh at, but instead, a dumb me/service story that's hopefully entertaining in its own way. At work, we have a service, henceforth known as Service, that allows us to automatically send emails, create workflows, the works. It even used to let us tweet, even though we never used it. Basically, it's a reporting service that reads our database, determines if the info is ready to send, and sends it away. We also have an external report outside this service that makes sure nothing is hung up in the service. It looks at what events are firing, and if an event stays there for more than 1 minute, it alerts us that there's an error. Well, we now have a satellite location and have roughly 10 machines that are being looked at. So the report that caused this fiasco is taking a bit longer to execute and fire. Precisely 1 minute and 1 second. This means that during peak hours, the IT department, me, and the VP get an email that there is an error every 30 minutes, and it looks like we're not monitoring the logs well enough. This machine error report is defined in the service to run every n minutes, where n equals 1. So I have the wise idea to change it to 1.25. During the exact same week, we move over to Office 365. So reports are failing front, back, and side to side as we're migrating everyone over. Then the errors subside and the 3 groups above feel good about our accomplishments. We go home for the weekend and all is good. Until Monday morning, where everyone claims to not have gotten reports. We scramble to check all the emails work, and they do? The external error email isn't bugging me, so no errors are detected. I manually sent some reports, even creating reports from scratch to try, and they all work with the new email. What gives? I submit an urgent ticket to the service's parent company and pray for prompt relief. The next morning I get the email of, "Can you get on now?" from the service rep. Yes, I can. Thank you, my hero. Looking into it, there doesn't seem to be problems. Everything sends correctly when manually sending them. I offer the really bad advice that maybe it just isn't checking these reports? After more investigation, service is sending reports that are every Sunday, or at the first of each month. It seems only every N minutes reports are busted. The service rep looks into the admin logs and there it is. Cannot divide by 0. What? Oh, I know what it is. So apparently, despite service allowing me to enter the number and not giving me an error, service cannot actually read decimal numbers, only integers. Service freaks out and treats the 1.25 as 0. The service rep, who was fantastic, laughs and says that it shouldn't have let me do that. It is more or less a defect that he will make sure is fixed in a future update. This just happened to line up exactly with the same day we upgraded to 365 to complicate things further. In my defense, I may have caused the problem, but it isn't my fault. The rep laughed and agreed. I thanked the rep, gave him a good dad joke, and we went our separate ways. Too long didn't read. The email alert service we use cannot read decimals. It tried to read a decimal, failed, and instead tried to divide by 0, breaking everything. That's what happens when companies throw you into a spot that you're not trained for and they didn't hire you for. I've had it done to me. I remember one time getting hired on a crew as a carpenter. Framing, putting windows and doors in, trim work, even hanging some drywall. And then one day the boss asked me to wire up a couple of switches, light switches. Well, I can do it, but it's not my job. And in this state, any new construction or even remodeling is supposed to be done by a licensed mechanical person. Mechanical meaning, electrician, plumber, etc. Just a bad idea all the way around. Protocol is whatever you say it is. Network cabling for an international bank. Monday, 7 a.m. Woken up by ringing cell phone. It's the project manager. Are you in the data center? What? Are you in the data center? Roll over in bed, fire up laptop, VPN to the bank. No emails about any emergency, no missed projects I drank through. Work doesn't start for an hour at the very least. What's this about? Call me when you're in the data center. Oh, there's the hangover. One subway ride later, where those in scrubs are about equal in number to those that need scrubbing, I'm sitting in the data center alone. Get called by a turret guy. Are you in the office? Yeah. So they closed the 6th floor. They closed the 6th floor early last year. Yeah, but now they shut off the switches. Okay. And the turrets that we used to test the recorded lines went down. And these turrets, are they on the 6th floor? Yeah. Sounds like you've got a problem. We didn't expect NOC to shut down the switches. Check my email. Oh, now I'm included in an email chain that spans 4 departments in 3 countries that date to late Saturday. Well, at least I wasn't called on Saturday. So let me get this straight. Did NOC not inform you that they were doing this? No, they didn't. Oh, a scream test. And apparently there was lots of screaming indeed. Mostly in my head. So what do you want me to do? Can you put the switches back? I'm network cabling, not network operations. If you want, I can throw them on a different switch in a different telecom room on a floor that wasn't shut off. December of 2019. But you're carrying them for me. Let me call my boss. Yeah, that'll work. Just one thing. They can't rest on the floor. What? Why not? It's unprofessional. Well, why start being professional now? Get a text from the straw boss. We have an idea for a solution as to the turrets. Text back. Is it moving them to another floor? Yeah, can you do that? Do you know where I can get some rack shells for the turrets? Just steal them. Oh, thanks for putting this in text. I'd hate to think protocol wasn't being followed. Well, OP, I'm sorry you had to work with a hangover and all, but at least you got everything in writing so that no matter what comes down, it doesn't land on your head. Threatened to be fired for asking a customer to download free software. Recently stumbled upon this place. I wanted to share my experience that turned me into the bitter, jaded engineer I am today. Names have been changed to protect the innocent. I was a newbie, 6 months into the job. I'd been handed a case, fairly simple by the looks of things, should be a simple reset up of their configuration files, so I call up the chap. Customer, hello OP, I've been expecting your call. Side note, you guys didn't really think I was going to try to say that name, did you? Me, good morning Mr. Customer, how are you today? Customer, I am most relaxed, I went snowboarding over the weekend, you see. Anywho, I'll save you the whole story, but we're getting on like a house on fire. He asked me to call him by his first name, which was very uncommon at the time. However, things took a dark turn. Me. Okay, so if you download this piece of software, I can gain access to your system with you now, and we can get the resolution implemented. Customer. Why do I need to always be downloading software? Me. If you just download it, it's free, and we can get this issue resolved. Customer. Doesn't want to hear any of this. Why? Why? You think all I can do is afford to download this expensive software? You're the worst, and this is how you make your money. You should be fired, etc. I lost track of how long this went on for. My manager claims that I just sat there apologizing over and over until I finally snapped. Me. Right, listen to me. I'll send over a guide as you're unwilling to download free software. Click. I began working on the guide. It's got screenshots, helpful tips. It took me about 3 hours to write it all up. All the while I'm getting pings from our customer-facing teams saying that I've really upset this customer and they're trying to get through to my manager. Eventually I hear my manager get called, and he says, yes, this customer threatened my engineer, so he's doing things differently this time, whilst giving me a PM to call up the customer. Customer, good, finally, I trust you have my solution? Me, I most certainly do. I'm set to email it to you now, and this will be the last time we speak. Customer, wait one moment, please. I hear him move into a second room. I want you to know, I know people in your company. I can get you fired if this solution doesn't work. I will ensure you never work again. Me, by this time I've had enough. Okay, please feel free to raise any concerns you may have with my manager as you know him so well. Customer, believe me, I will do. Anywho, I send over the document. Should take around 4 to 5 hours to implement the changes. Within 25 minutes, I get a call. Customer. It isn't working. I demand to speak to your manager now. Me. Okay. At this stage, I transferred the call to my manager. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but my manager then called me into one of our training rooms. Manager. Okay, so tomorrow we've agreed to one big call. You, me, your mentor, the customer, and his manager. How certain are you about your solution? Me. 100%. I'll implement it if I have to. Manager. Good chap. The next morning, I get to work super early. Double and triple check my solution. Airtight. We all gather for the call. I'm quite literally crapping myself at this stage. He joins after his manager. Customer. So, OP, show me this masterful solution. Me. Happy to do so. And so begins what I expect to be the longest 4 to 5 hours of my life. But imagine my surprise. Within 5 minutes, the system starts working again. Step 2 was to engage the config file. Turns out he hadn't done that at all. Me. And we're back. I honestly wish I'd said something funnier, but I was really tired. Customer. This is a conspiracy. You're trying to get me fired. Me. To this day, my finest moment. You mean like you tried to get me fired? Customer manager. Okay, I think there's some bad blood here. We'll end the call now. Call ends. My manager comes up to me, smiles from ear to ear. Manager. I'm proud of you, chap. He called everyone chap. Long story short, I stayed at this company for going on 6 years. I'm now actively involved in training our new recruits. Every 6 months I retell this story as an example of no matter how much they shout, you can't get fired. As for the customer, he still works for the company. I know this as our system won't assign tickets from him to me following this. Apparently I'm still trying to get him fired. Wow, Wrong, paranoid, and rude. You hit the trifecta, OP. Computers need to be plugged in. Who'da thunk it? In the previous night's second shift, one of the production employees unplugged one computer in order to charge his personal cell phone, which they're not allowed to have on the floor anyway. Third shift complained that they couldn't work, and instead of using the other computer that's located less than 10 steps away, they chose not to report any production. Mind you, the unplugged computer was not intended for the line they were running, but they like using it better. They're all the same image and hardware, so I don't know what that means. At around 5:30 a.m., an hour before their shift ended, they emailed their manager and our manager that they couldn't report production since second shift. They didn't bother telling anyone else, like, say, IT. 7 a.m., we get an email from our manager. None of the computers on the floor work. It continues to say that this is unacceptable and that we must always have working computers. He ended it with, I don't care what you need to do to get the computers working, do it. Install bigger hard drives or whatever makes the computers faster. We replied back with a picture of the single computer that was unplugged, explained that it was one computer that they unplugged to charge their personal phone, that the other 20-something computers were all working perfectly fine, that there is no IT restriction that can be placed to prevent someone from unplugging the computer, and that we can't be 24-hour babysitters to a bunch of adults. Nicely, of course. Well, I guess as long as we install bigger hard drives or whatever makes computers faster, we'll be set. Yeah, it's amazing how nobody takes any responsibility for themselves. I find myself coming back to this statement, maybe not to you guys, but at least in my head, it seems like every hour. Where is the personal responsibility? You know you've got a room with 20 computers in it, or a floor with 20 computers, or whatever, and you know they're all available. Your favorite one goes down. It's probably their favorite because it's in some corner where people can't see them and they all go there to hide. Who knows? But yeah, come on, people. Blaming everybody else because you're not doing your job. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. If you've enjoyed this content, would you consider giving this video a like, subscribing to the channel, and maybe clicking that little bell icon so you don't miss the fat guy with the beard telling you stories. See ya.